It's got about 18 million cracks in it.
Who run the world? Girls, girls. Who run the world? Girls, girls.
Because this door tonight has been opened. My parents taught me to never give up and to always believe that my future could be whatever I dreamt it to be.
To humbly give voice to thousands of Texans who have been ignored.
Make wellness a priority.
Our country believes that every life in every land has value and dignity.
It's their voice for their rights.
You know of any country in the Middle East that has nuclear weapons?
And you fill a niche or a void and you have the confidence to do it.
I'm Katie Couric. Tonight, it was the first front in the war on terror.
I think women should be just as ambitious as men and be proud of it.
If you look at women's economic participation just in the last decade in the developed world, forget about the developing world, what women have produced in terms of helping the economies amounts to outpacing what China has contributed to the economy. Wow. We are talking about a lot of power. And imagine how much more could be unleashed, how our world could change, how our own country could benefit if this vital force were unleashed because you helped women overcome the obstacles that they confront, whether it's in the balancing or it's in the access to finance, but enabled women to unleash that potential. There's no telling what we could do for ourselves as well as for our countries and our economies.
One of the things that I try to encourage women to do is to listen to each other and stop us from, saying when something really great happens, oh, I got lucky. No, you didn't. You worked really hard, you're really talented, you're really skilled, you led a team of people that accomplished a really great thing. Own it.
When women are economically empowered, not only does GDP grow and economies flourish, but all of society changes.
Julie Katzman told me what women are not. Tell me that.
That women are not a niche. So
let's bring a tweet, huh?
That's a good one.
And the context is, we do work with financial institutions, and they say, well, it's a niche market for us. It's 50% of the population.
I've got to tell you, more women on both sides of the aisle, each chamber, House and Senate, Democrat and Republican. The more women that are here, the more expeditious we will be in getting the country's work done.
It is about determination, it is about tenacity, but I also want to say, because I think Tori exemplifies this more than just about anybody else, it is about being nice and empowering of others. And I think from the minute we all got to know her and her product, she showed that you can be strong, that you can have a vision, that you can set out to fulfill that vision, but you can do that while being respectful and encouraging for others. And I think that's a terrific role model for our daughters growing up.
My name is Sophie LaMontagne.
And my name is Catherine Berman.
And we're sisters and the co-owners of Georgetown Cupcake. The typical day at Georgetown Cupcake is really atypical. Every day is an adventure for us, but it always starts with baking the cupcakes. We bake everything from scratch at each of our locations. So no matter if you're in Georgetown or New York or LA or Boston, we bake our cupcakes from scratch at each location every morning. You have no idea what the day will bring. Some days we have deliveries of 2,000 cupcakes going across the country. Some days, there are fires in our bakery. Like every day is literally an adventure.
Women rule means the power to create change.
Women rule is it's an assumption, it's an aspiration, it's a direction, and in some cases it's a reality.
I couldn't think of two better partners to have than Google and Politico, both for their outstanding vision and unique vision and the way they look at business and how they've built theirs. It's extraordinary.
who's a better role model for young women who have ideas and vision than Tory Burch and her foundation that has really taken the time and the energy while building her business to help other women become entrepreneurs. So much of what determines whether women can and will, and to what level women will rule, many decisions are made here in Washington, D.C., and Politico captures that discussion on a minute-by-minute basis. So it's a great partnership.
As an entrepreneur, you've got to stand out. You've got to have a product that you sell. I mean, I think it's fascinating. I mean, you see it again where almost everyone on stage, with the exception of the beautiful Beverly, wore black today. I mean, let's just think about this. Because we are fitting in. We want to look smaller. We want to look, all those things. Truly. I
want to look smaller.
Here I am. So do I. So do I. Well, there's some of the intimidation factor, but in fact, there's a wonderful book on Queen Elizabeth, and there's a whole chapter on why she wears those goofy outfits. You know, where she wears the hat and the bag and everything matches. She does it so that her people can see her. From a far away distance when she's walking through a town or whatever she does or standing on a stage. And I think this issue of standing out and speaking our truth is because equality, honestly, is what men were willing to give us. It's okay if we can get up to the level where we can be like them. The goal of Count Me In was to get 1 million women to 1 million, and it still is. But the goal has evolved into thinking about how do we design businesses and design our world where it works for us.
TFA was a result of your college thesis. So my one question is that I've read is, did your advisor really call you deranged for suggesting this?
You know, he thought it was a little crazy, yes, and he often then would use that line, but deep down I think he was actually a supporter. When I think about like where I was literally, I guess now 25 years ago, you know, I'd just written this senior thesis. I was completely obsessed with this idea and with what I thought would be the incredible power of something that would channel all this energy and talent into classrooms in our most under-resourced communities. I was just obsessed, not only with the immediate impact, but with the long-term impact of having all these future leaders have their first experience teaching for 2 years in urban and rural communities instead of working on Wall Street for 2 years. So, and I was kind of had the huge advantage of a lot of naivete and inexperience, like not knowing what wasn't possible.
I'm Juana Summers in the Politico newsroom. As part of our Women Rule series, we spent the day at 1776 and talked with co-founder Donna Harris, as well as 3 entrepreneurs about their experiences in startups, as well as their advice for women starting their own businesses.
There are big issues. Just the bias that we have subliminally as a culture is, I think, one of the biggest issues. If a man and a woman walk in a room together, whether it's to raise capital or to network, the room will always make eye contact with the man, assume that the man is in charge, and we don't yet have it embedded in ourselves that, no, actually, it could be the man or the woman. And the number of members we have that have said, I have people remark at how interesting it is that I can be a mom and an entrepreneur. Oh, you do that and you have 3 kids. Oh, you run 1776 and you have a 3-year-old. As if they've just seen a unicorn for the first time. It literally, yes, there are actually women doing this, doing it well. But it is a subliminal bias. People don't even realize that they're doing it, and it precludes us from being able to be seen credibly from the first conversation. We miss out, I think, on networking opportunities. And I think generally when you're trying to balance being a mom and an entrepreneur, you have to think about, if I go to this networking event, will I get enough valuable contacts to warrant having given up an evening with my kids? And it's a really real decision that I think hits home for women potentially far more than it does for men.
You know, it's interesting about raising capital as well, because women only get between 2 to 5% of venture capital in this country, and we're creating businesses at about 1.5 times the national average. They're not necessarily the type of businesses that VCs want to fund. They don't necessarily have these big 10x returns. But all the same, as if you are creating that technology company that's disruptive and is going to be big and fits the VC pattern, it's really disconcerting when you're in a room and a VC tells you that you don't fit the pattern. And that actually happened to me. I'm sorry you don't fit the pattern. Directly told me that. Off the record, he told me that, but all the same. And I was thinking, what is it about me that, oh, I see, okay, I'm not a guy. I'm not a young guy. I don't spend time in my garage.
For women, for people of color, it is definitely, there's an expectation that an entrepreneur, and especially a venturable entrepreneur's company, comes in a particular package. And our challenge is just to kind of take that away, to unwrap that and say, this is actually the same intensity, the same, you know, possibility in a different package, and we can do that.
And beyond that, not just to show them that you're a different package, but to help them understand that their perception is wrong.
Right.
Because if you actually look at the data, as you said, women actually are starting businesses in a far more rapid capacity than men. We have a higher level of success in terms of the return on capital and the revenue growth when we do tend to get venture backed. So it's less about a feel good, we should just invest in women. Investing in women businesses is a really good economic proposition
and
as well.